I fixed it with the SSS solution. I'm Hilda Ryan with your quick tip for piano teachers. I just got finished with the first lesson in the fall with a middle beginner student. He's working in my Folk Tunes 3. He has folk tunes with the melody in the right hand and some block chords in the left hand. Now there was a new piece that was assigned since the last time I saw him in the summer, earlier in the summer, and I asked him to isolate a little spot near the end and work that first. So I decided today to ask for that isolated spot first on several of his pieces, and I think I'm going to continue to do that. I will not do that for intermediate and advanced students, but for the earlier level students, yeah, I think might be a good idea. So we discovered right there that it wasn't ready. It wasn't effectively solved and at the level it needed to be able to drop it in place for the rest of the piece. So I needed to work with that spot, asked for it again, and it was still incorrect. So I employed one of my S's. The 3 S's I use are slower, simpler, shorter. Slower, simpler, shorter. One of those 3 fixes a lot of problems, or a combination of those. Now, obviously, I had asked him to isolate just a measure and a half, so that was already shorter, but that wasn't working. So I asked him to drop the left hand. That is a simplifying measure. That still didn't work. And so I realized that there was one note that was always wrong. So I did what I've mentioned before and what works every single time. I shortened this short and asked him to stop on the note that was always wrong. Now, I didn't tell him that. I just told him to stop on this note. And his sister, who was there at the lesson today, instead of the mother, to put her thumb on the notes that came after so he wouldn't play anything beyond it. So it's just the right hand. That's simpler. It was already shorter, and I asked him to shorten it up to just this much, and you know it was correct, as it always is. It was correct the first time. So I asked him to repeat it again and again, and then I went back to a little bit longer with the right hand, and it was still correct. Do that again, and then we put the left hand with it, and then we had success. And I asked him to practice that way this week, to start with just the right hand in that shorter than short little spot, and go through that sequence, which is successful. You know, every repetition needs to be, if possible, correct, because it's going in the ear, and it's a kinesthetic learning too. So hope that's helpful to you. Applying the S's: slower, simpler, shorter.